Alright, today I'm going to briefly talk you through my editing workflow and the setup that I adhere to, or that I have adhered to, for the past few years of making videos. The first video, this one that you're watching, will cover the physical setup of components inside of and attached to my laptop, and I'll very lightly explain why I have it set up this way. And in the second video, linked above or in the description down below, we'll cover my organization strategies for keeping some consistency and some order in my video projects. So in particular, I will discuss this using Premiere Pro as an example. So I'll also show you a couple of settings within Premiere Pro that make the most of this physical setup that we will cover in this video. So we'll cover the drives that I have inside and connected to outside the laptop, and how they all have a specific purpose. Now, first off, my laptop, it's a gaming laptop. I don't play games, but I got it back when I was an academic, and Dell were running a sale that I could combine with my university card, and I got this for around or just under £2,000, and it's been serving me well. It's been running great. It's been going strong for about 3 years now. I opted for a laptop because we move around quite a bit, and a desktop would have made things inconvenient. Now, this laptop features a Core i7 8th generation Intel processor. The graphics card is a GTX 1070 with 32 gigabytes dedicated RAM, and I also have a dedicated video card, and I believe that's 8 or 7 gigs. And I opted to have my main C drive to have 500 gigs of capacity. Now, I didn't need this to hold a super large amount. The C drive is for installing programs. That's pretty much what it's for. Now, inside the laptop, I have a D drive with 1 terabyte capacity, and this is where I store videos and photos, and it's also where I edit my photos. Now, it's where I keep stuff that will rotate as the years go by. So roughly at the end of the year, I'll sort through my photos and my videos and decide which will stay here and which will get transferred to external storage archives. This is basically where all of my dumping and my sorting goes. I have some space for one more SSD inside of here, but I haven't installed that yet, so that space is unused. Okay, externally connected, I have 2 SSDs. I have this 500 gig SSD that goes at the back USB-C port, and I have this over here as my scratch and cache drive, which gets emptied out quite often. I also store my standard templates here, which are also backed up on my desktop, which is my C drive. So standard templates are things that I use often in my videos, and also include my watermarks for photo editing, also my signatures and logos and stuff that generally go into my thumbnails quite often, like, stuff like that, logos. And this over here is my project drive, which is where my video projects go. So with regard to Premiere Pro, my Premiere Pro project and all the media relating to that project go in here. Any template stored in my scratch drive that I need to copy over for each project, I do so individually. And I've also recently assigned my scratch drive as the location where I store a backup of my media overlays, my sound effects and stuff like that. I just store them there. I don't work them from there, not from the scratch drive. I tell Premiere Pro to assign my scratch drive, which is connected at the back, as I mentioned, that location, that USB-C port, for scratch and for cache storage. And remember, my C drive is where Premiere Pro, the program itself, is running from. In this way, I'm pretty much drastically reducing the amount of concurrent reading and writing that each drive needs to run while I'm editing and rendering and playing back and, stuff like that we do while we're editing. So I'll link the video that helped me make all these decisions down below. And if that's something that you might be interested, you can check that out. If I'm not mistaken, it's Puget Systems. So to round that up, Premiere Pro, the program itself, is installed in my C drive. My photos and my videos get dumped into my D drive, and they're sorted as soon as possible. And I also do a general sort through once a year or so for stuff that I might probably use again in the future, which stays, but most of the stuff is deleted from the D drive, but backed up in external archives if the clips and photos have potential. Things that are work related get immediately backed up on a separate work archive drive, and I do no work off of that. It's just a backup. My Premiere Pro projects and my media for those specific projects go in my project drive. All media relevant to said project is selected and copied over from the D drive where my footage was initially stored, and for the project editing, I work entirely within this project drive. And within Premiere Pro, I assign this drive over here, my scratch drive, as the location to store my cache and my scratch. Any templates or overlays or sound effects that I have backed up in that scratch drive get copied over to the project drive if they're needed for that particular project. Now, like I said, the project is being edited entirely in the project drive. The idea is that once I'm done with a non-work or a non-paid project, I can delete the project itself and the media once it's complete and published. And I basically just have an archive of the final product. Part 2 of how I manage my video projects, how I organize things, is linked in the description below, or you'll see it floating around on the screen somewhere here. So thanks so much for stopping by, folks. I hope that this was at least sort of helpful. I'll catch you in the next video shortly if you choose to go on from here.